Welcome to episode 76 of the Adventures with Grammy podcast. I am your host, Carolyn Berry. My guest today is Connie Enyukai. She says that she has reinvented herself 3 times. Act 1 was teaching technical writing at the University of Maryland and at Johns Hopkins University for almost 4 decades. Act 2 found her writing books, caring for 2 young grandchildren, and inventing a product called Tip and Split. Currently in Act 3, Connie has created Write Your Selfie. She says passion has no expiration date and that she is living proof that second act entrepreneurs can succeed. The key is to be passionate about what matters most to you. Before I jump into my conversation with Connie, I invite you to check out my redesigned podcast website. I am super excited about all of the features. You are welcome to listen to the podcast via your favorite app, but now you have the opportunity to listen directly from my website. It's adventureswithgrammypodcast.com, and the link is in the show notes. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Connie. Thank you so much for listening. I know you taught writing as a college professor, but what inspired you to write about your life?
I'm trying to inspire other people who are older, baby boomers. Retirement does not mean the end of the world. It kind of means the beginning of a new life. So I tried to inspire people, and I actually wrote an article for Entrepreneur magazine called 6 Reasons to Pursue Entrepreneurship in Retirement. It's never too late. I'm actually writing a book about that now. I'm using my life as an example. I retired from teaching. I taught technical writing. It was very time consuming because I had to grade reports all the time. And I was always inspiring college seniors on what to do with the rest of their life, how to get a good job, how to do effective writing. And then I decided that I wanted to inspire myself. And actually, I had an invention in my head. And while I was teaching technical writing, these were engineers and computer scientists. I had one of the assignments, they had to write an instruction manual. So I had this invention. So while they were doing theirs, I was writing my instruction manual for my invention. And then I asked them to make a brochure. So while they were doing it, I was doing it. And I asked them to do, so many little things that they would need for a business. And I was doing mine. And finally, I just decided I had to quit. I was so inspired to do my invention. I knew nothing about inventing, but I can learn. So I learned. After I learned how to invent it, I tried to hire publicists to help me get my product out there in the news. And all I did was throw away money. They got me 0, and I got myself publicity. So I wrote a book, and it's called How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and More in My Retirement. So I'm really big on retirement. I just had a lot of fun writing it. I don't spend a lot of time on it because it's all right in my heart. Then I decided to write my life story so that after I'm gone, my children will know me, but my grandchildren and their children will know all about me after I'm gone. That's been really a lot of fun for me. I mean, everything I do is fun. It's time consuming, but like you say, it's fun. We have a passion. Have people do what they want to do in their passion. And my passion was I taught writing, so I can easily help them with writing theirs. So, I'm using my background as a writing teacher to help other people write their life story. So that's basically what I'm doing now.
It's amazing how our lives parallel. I taught English on the high school level. Well, English was one of the subjects I taught. Like you with grading papers, it's like, oh my goodness, I had so many essays because I taught 11th grade English. It was a lot of essay writing, and it was constant editing, constant coaching on how to write, how to improve the story, whatever. So it wasn't just I did my work at school and went home and did something else. I worked at school and came home and worked on schoolwork as well, because it is a very labor intensive field of teaching.
Exactly. Well, I used to pull all-nighters about once a month. I would pull all-nighters to finish all the grading. once or twice a month. I would stay up all night and just get the work done. I decided that's not what I wanted to do because we didn't get paid very much. Even at a university, I didn't get paid so much. Yeah, and so you can relate to that. And I was very happy to retire.
As a writer myself, when I give someone something that I've written and ask them to critique it, I'm really eager for them to get it back to me so I know what their reaction is and I know what they like, what I need to change. And I know that's how my students felt too, especially the ones who really enjoyed writing. They wanted that feedback and I wanted to give it to them as quickly as possible, but it's not fair to give feedback to one quickly and make the other students wait. So like you, I often pulled, well, not necessarily all-nighters, but I would stay up very late in order to be able to do that. But let's go back to your writing for a minute. You said you wrote an article for Entrepreneurship magazine about 6 reasons to pursue entrepreneurship in retirement. Can you just give us a quick overview of why baby boomers should look at that?
Well, one of them is because when you're retired, a lot of people don't know what to do with their life. And this gives them a chance to stay active if they have some kind of job business. And also while they're working when they have a 9 to 5, they're working somebody else's demands. Okay. And maybe all of their creativity is stifled. And once we're retired, we can do what we want to do. So it's keeping our mind active and our body active. And it's also a good time to pursue a passion. Okay, because passion is not something you can really do when you're teaching. Well, you can do it, but it's passion for helping other people. You're helping other people write their essays and learn how to write. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're pursuing your own passion, whether it's making candles or just working in a hospital or whatever you want to do. It's helping you pursue a passion. And you can also do volunteer work, give back to the community. And all of those things are things that people want to do when they're retired that you can't do when you're working. Because when you're working, you're worried about putting your kids through college. I have no more kids that have to go to college, so I don't have to worry about that. I can just worry about myself. So retirement is actually a good avenue to pursue entrepreneurship.
Let's go back to your comment about how you wasted money on hiring publicity people. I agree with you in that you, as the passionate author, with just a little bit of guidance, can do a lot for yourself. And that's one of the reasons why I'm busy, is that I don't want to hire other people to help me. I really want this to be my work. Now, I will hire an editor and a proofreader because, quite frankly, I'm not very good at catching my mistakes with what I write, because I've thought about it in my heart, my head, and I've written and revised and edited so many times that I often just overlook the mistakes. So having a fresh pair of eyes, I think, is really important. But as far as the marketing and the public relations part, I feel quite qualified to do that. And I really don't want to hire somebody to do it. But give us some hints on your ability to get on QVC. How did you get on the Today Show? How did you get on The View? And then after that, I want you to tell us about your product and tell us about this invention. It's really exciting, and I think the guests would enjoy hearing about it. But tell me the process of getting that publicity.
Okay, so first of all, I went to once I first invented it. It's called Tip and Split. And it's actually for people who get older. All my products are for people who are like older, because that's what I am. And there aren't many products for old people. I should not say old people, but anyway, I invented this Tip and Split, and it's like a handheld device that has a magnifier and a light. Because when I go out to eat in a restaurant, I don't know about you, but sometimes I cannot see the menu or the bill because the print is too small and the restaurant is too dark. So when I go out with my friends, we pass around reading glasses, but then we have to go look for a candle. And I thought, why can't somebody make something easy for us? And now they have smartphones that you can magnify, but it's a little bit of a process. Like you can take a picture of the menu and enlarge it, but I don't really want to go through that process. So my invention is a little handheld device that can fit in your pocket or your purse. And I actually found that everybody needs it, because when I go out to eat in a restaurant, everybody wants to borrow mine. So what I did first is I went to a trade show for inventions. My manufacturer disappointed me and didn't have the product ready, and I had a booth. But I went to it anyway, and I just had pictures, and QVC was there taking pitches. So I went up there and I pitched my product, but I only had pictures, and they said, well, this sounds really great. Why don't you come back when you have the product? So the next year I went back and I said, do you remember me? And they said, yes. And I said, well, you said to come back, so here's my product. And I pitched it, and they all loved it. They applauded it, and they put me on QVC. Okay. And it was just a wonderful experience. I also won a gold medal for best new gadget at the trade show. And it was just wonderful. And so then what happened is I hired a publicist, two, actually. They each charged me about $3,000 and got zero. And so actually the Today Show contacted me. They had heard about this. I'm not sure where. And I called The View, and they put me on it. It was on for about 1 minute. And I sold 8,000 units in 1 minute. I had a really good time. And then I got on a few other sites. And then I might be on something else with it, which I'm not allowed to say yet. But I haven't given up.
Okay.
I'm always trying, but I might be on another big show. I put it aside during COVID because I didn't want to encourage people like my age to go out to restaurants. By the way, they were all closed because of COVID. And so I focused on my Write Your Selfie, where I help people write their life story, because that's something you can do at home and not have to go out for anything. And it's a great activity to do at home. So now I'm trying to get publicity for that. And I don't hire publicists anymore, but I'm working on it. And I actually got featured on a TV show for that. You know, I'm still working all the time. And sometimes I think about maybe I should stop and just really retire, as people have told me to. Why don't you just sit down and watch Netflix all day? Sometimes I think about that, but it's just not in my DNA to do it, because I just love doing what I'm doing. And you can relate to that, right?
I can't imagine sitting watching television all day. I've never been a television watcher anyway. If anything, I would sit all day and read books, but I really don't want to do that either. I mix my time between writing and reading and the podcast. I mean, that's how I spend my day, and playing with my grandkids. That's my love.
And you have how many?
6. And they are similar in your children's ages, and that mine range from ages 2 to 10. So there's 6 of them
1
in
to
me.
10. So it's the same.
Yes.
Are they local?
They are about 3 hours away. And actually 2 of them are with me right now. They're already out from school. And after this interview, we're going to hunt for shark's teeth in the nearby river. So they're excited.
That's great.
Yeah,
no,
I took them last year.
It's so much fun to be a grandma. And I actually trademarked the name Grandmapreneur. Did you know that? I'm a Grandmapreneur. And since
I saw that.
Since I trademarked the name, I see Grandmapreneurs all over the place. But I don't go after them. I could tell them they're not able to use that name. That's what my patent attorney said. Go after them and get some money. But I just don't want to sue a grandma. But
right.
I guess it's kind of flattering that they like the name. But there were no Grandmapreneurs when I started it. That's basically it. We have a very parallel lifestyle, don't we?
We do, very much so. Tell our listeners where they can learn about your products and find your books.
Okay, so you can go to Grandmapreneur.com. That's sort of my umbrella. And in the menu, there's a link to Tip and Split, which is my product, which is my invention. And there's also a link to Write Your Selfie, which is how they can learn about writing their life story. So I used to have 3 different websites, but I think that's too much. So it's just grandmapreneur.com. And then you can read about me and you can see about my book about how I got my product on QVC, blah, 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 is on the Tip and Split website. And my memoir is on my Write Your Selfie website.
The thought that comes to mind is great minds think alike, because what you've done is what I've done with Adventures with Grammy. If you go to adventureswithgrammy.com, you see everything, the website, my books, everything. And I think like your brand is Grandmapreneur, mine is Adventures with Grammy, because everything that I do is like with your enterprise, mine is all about helping grandparents, helping them learn how to be better grandparents, learn how to connect with their grandkids, learn how to pass on the wisdom and their love for generations to come. And the cool part is I'm learning right along with our listeners. So I'm really glad that we've had this time to meet and that we know a little bit more about each other and about, our work and our love for helping grandparents survive in this world.
Give them the place of respect that we deserve. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think your website is great too. I like it.
Thank you. I'm actually in the process of revising my website, and that's the other thing is I should hire a web designer, but I like doing things myself. I like the hands-on. It takes me a long time, but I eventually get it done. So within the next couple of months, it'll be revised and more to what I actually want it to be.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm glad, I'm hoping we can stay connected and maybe we could work on a project together at some point.
That would be a lot of fun. I just want to summarize. You have 3 children, 6 grandchildren, ages 1 to 10. You have invented a product to help older people be able to see menus and split tips and split the cost of meals perhaps and figure out tips. And you have learned how to publicize all of that all by yourself because you've been on television programs and you've now written a book about writing your selfie. Is this also a program? Like, is it a course that people take online or is it just the book?
It's actually a course. Because anybody can write their life story, anybody can do it, but most people don't know how to get started or they don't do it. So it gives them accountability. And because I'm a retired writing teacher, I give them 6 lessons so they can actually write their own memoir in 6 weeks.
That is exciting. Well, thank you, Connie, for joining us. Do you have any words of wisdom that you want to give our listeners or any tips that we haven't talked about?
No, I think that I'm so glad to be on the site. And if they go to my site, grandmapreneur.com, they can get the article that I wrote about 6 reasons to pursue entrepreneurship in retirement. They just click on it and they'll get my article.
Oh, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Adventures with Grammy podcast. You will find the links to our guests and the topics we discussed in this episode's show notes. If you would like to be a guest, or if you know someone who would be an awesome guest, please connect with me at Carolyn@adventureswithgrammy.com.